Okay, so Morgan and Kirsten just passed out a quiz to everybody. If you did not get one, raise your hand and they'll make sure that you get one. Today, we are going to discuss whether your marketing sucks or not. So, this is a little assessment on analyzing your marketing efforts to see if there's any room for improvements and what you should consider. Some of the questions we will expand on as we go through this, and if you have questions specifically on a marketing strategy or platform or choice or question here, just feel free to raise your hand and let me know. We will discuss. Okay, so we have a bunch of steps here that we are going to go through on analyzing your marketing. So the first question is, or the first thing you need to look at, or the reason that your marketing might suck, is you have a lack of clear marketing strategy. So many companies fail to develop a comprehensive marketing strategy that outlines their target audience, their goals, and tactics. Without a clear plan, marketing efforts can lack direction and purpose. We talk to a lot of different businesses, and I talk to a lot of different levels of preparation. So sometimes we come in and they have well-defined their demographic, they know who they're speaking to, and sometimes it is not like that. Most of the times it's not like that. Most of the time they know their product well, but they do not understand who their customer is and how to reach them well. So what is a marketing strategy made of? You need to have clear objectives, define your target audience, do market research on both your competitors, the industry, and market trends. Develop a unique selling proposition. So you need to have a way to differentiate yourself from your competitors. Positioning, you need to consider how do you want to be perceived. You need to review the 4 Ps, which are product, price, place, and promotion. Identify the marketing channels that you want to use. Create a content strategy. Set a marketing budget, and then have testing and analytics in place so that you can see if this marketing strategy is actually working for you. It is my favorite thing whenever we're working with clients to set up an annual plan, and we do that. We're in really busy season right now, so we do a lot of annual planning from October through, unfortunately, February, because a bunch of businesses drag their feet and don't get all the decisions made until that time, but I like to look at it like a science experiment. So let's set up a plan, a well-educated science experiment, but let's set a plan, test it, and see what works, be able to analyze what doesn't work, and then make changes. Sometimes we make changes in the middle of the year if we need to, adjust and pivot because maybe something changed in the business or something's not working like we think it's going to. And sometimes it's because of outside factors that they can't control. It could be the market or a competitor or something else has changed. So the first question on your quiz is, do you have a marketing strategy? We actually have a scoring system at the end of this. So if you market for a business, you can see where you end up at the end. The second thing to look at is insufficient market research. So inadequate understanding of the target market can lead to marketing efforts that do not resonate with potential customers. Market research is essential for identifying customer needs, preferences, and pain points. So this would be researching consumer statistics, demographics, economic indicators, employment statistics, location, market saturation, and pricing. So the next question is, do you know your target customer? Something interesting, and I don't remember where I heard this, but Taco Bell has a very well-defined client or customer that they are marketing to, and I believe, off the top of my head, it is a 25-year-old male who smokes weed. Like, I literally think that that's what they have in their marketing plan, because they think that this person stays up late at night and wants to go eat Taco Bell. They have a specific... that sounds really crazy, right? Like, nobody's that specific. And my children love to eat at Taco Bell, so that doesn't fit the demographic. But if you look at their marketing messages, you could see how that would make sense in the way that they set up their commercials and social media. The third thing we want to look at is inconsistent branding. So inconsistent branding and messaging can confuse customers and dilute the company's identity. A strong, unified brand image is crucial for effective marketing. As mentioned in some of our previous marketing workshops today, your brand is more than your logo. It's more than even the fonts and the colors that go with the logo. It is the messaging that comes along with it and how you want people to feel whenever interacting with your brand and how to be perceived. So this is an exercise that we take our clients through in discussions on how do we want to position you inside the market, how do you want to be perceived, what does this look like? So do you have have a clear defined brand? This includes messaging, tone, fonts, colors, logos, and perceptions. Number 4 is a poorly defined, unique selling proposition. So if a company does not clearly communicate what sets it apart from the competition, potential customers may not see a compelling reason to choose its products or services. I have a roofing background, and I can tell you that every single roofer says the same thing. They're all the same. So especially if you're in a competitive environment, it is super important to really analyze, are the things that I'm saying really that much different than what my competition is saying? And have come up with a truly unique selling proposition, and maybe that requires some innovation inside the business. Maybe you actually need to do something 100% different. So our question here is, do you have a unique selling proposition, I abbreviated it, for your business? Okay, so number 5 is ineffective use of marketing channels. Not all marketing channels are suitable for every business. Failing to select the right channels for reaching the target audience can waste resources. We are going to score this based off of the channels that you use. So what we have listed here is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. We put Threads and Twitter on the same line category. Google My Business, or Google Profile, it's being called now. Email marketing, search engine optimization, referral marketing, YouTube, print advertising, television and streaming, pay-per-click advertising, which would be like using Google Ads, events and sponsorships, radio, billboards, yard signs, and podcasts. So score yourself 2 points for each one of these channels that you do. Does anybody have a favorite channel from this list that they use right now? TikTok, Natalie says. It's her favorite. Who here has done streaming television? I know. So we like to have a mix here whenever we're looking at channels between branding platforms and lead generation platforms. There's a marketing funnel of awareness with the consumer, and you want to make sure that you have marketing at all levels of the sales funnel. You have things like print and radio and TV. Those are top of the funnel awareness levels. We have found streaming has highly improved in the last few years, and you can highly target your customer down to geography. So if you know that you are targeting a 55-year-old male who likes to hunt and they make over $100,000 a year and they live in Wayne County, you can literally put that demographic in, and streaming vendors can come back and say, okay, well, there's 100,000 impressions available a month for you for this, and give you a budget for how to reach those people. So this is a good example of why it's so important to have your target customer identified, because it will allow you to utilize marketing channels and resources to reach that person and put your marketing message in front of them. One of the cool things about our vendor that we use for streaming is they also do remarketing. So if you see a commercial within 24 to 48 hours, they get a remarketing ad on their computer or their phone. So they will watch you on TV, but then you get a remarketing ad coming back to it. Okay, so number 6 is inadequate budget allocation. This is the one business owners really don't like to talk about, and it's really difficult. So underinvesting in marketing can limit a company's ability to reach potential customers. On the other hand, overspending without a clear strategy can be wasteful. So we want to find the balance, and you need to find the sweet spot of spending enough to reach the people that you want to reach and get the results that you want to get without being wasteful with your money. So our question here is, do you have a marketing budget? We like to lay this out similar to how we lay out an annual plan. We lay out an annual budget, and we try to get as defined with that as possible. We want to run through calculations on like what are your revenue projections and things like that to bring it back to, do your numbers make sense? So if you're a service-based business and you know what your average sale is and you know how much it costs to generate those leads and you know what your closing rates are, you can utilize all of that to help make sure that your marketing budget that you have set. A business owner may say they only want to spend 2% of marketing, but their goals actually say that their revenue needs to be, higher than that. 2% may not get you to where you need to be revenue-wise. Number 7 is neglecting online presence. So in today's digital age, a strong online presence is essential. Neglecting to monitor reviews, maintain a website, social media profiles, or other online assets can hinder marketing efforts. Our question here is, do you monitor your reviews and respond to them? Everybody loves to get the Most Google reviews are good, but we all love to get the notification when you have a bad one come in and you don't know how to respond to it. I like to tell our customers whenever that happens, if you have a perfect score, people tend to trust that less anyway, so your 4.9 stars on Google is still okay. But we want to respond to them accordingly, similar to the panel that Natalie said. We want to respond to them as if they were in front of you, a real customer. Something else to look at here is, how old is your website? So we gave a scoring system based on less than 1 year, 2 to 4 years, 5 to 10, and 10 plus. So when having a business, your online presence is super important. And I'm not saying this because I want to sell you a website. I'm saying this because technology changes so much and has changed so much in the last couple of years that if you are not working to constantly keep it updated, then you could get left behind. So it's something you need to pay attention to. Next, we have ignoring social media engagement. So social media is a powerful platform for engaging with customers. Ignoring or mishandling social media interactions can harm a company's reputation. So it is important to spend time engaging as your business on social media. So we are asking you to rate yourself here on how frequently you engage on social media. That does not mean you going on your personal profile and going on to the business and sharing it or commenting on it. It means you going on as your business and commenting, and then also going to other businesses or inside your space. Let's say you are Be Fearless and you're a clothing retailer, so you are going to be in that space. So what interactions does it make sense for you to go engage on other business accounts? Failing to adapt to changing trends is something else that we need to look at. Marketing trends and consumer behaviors evolve. Companies that do not adapt and embrace new technologies and strategies may fall behind. Natalie and I we led a marketing group here locally for a number of years, and TikTok was not the favorite word for a very long time. The guys in the group just really did not want to hear. They really got sick of us talking about it. But the reality is, TikTok is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. We cannot avoid, similar to AI, we cannot avoid the things that are coming. We have to adapt to the changing trends. So our question here is, how often do you assess your marketing strategy and make changes? So if you assess that quarterly, semi-annually, annually, or never. We meet with our clients on a regular basis to review marketing results, but we tend to set quarterly checkpoints for reviewing that annual plan. Next, we have lack of data analysis. So data-driven marketing is crucial for understanding what works and what does not. Failing to analyze marketing data can result in missed opportunities for improvement. So how often do you review your website analytics? And who in here has their GA4 set up? If you do not, then there's a problem. you do. You're good. Google Analytics changed in July of this year, and we saw some businesses not getting with that change quick enough, and it is 100% different than how it used to be. It has to be customized, so if that's not something that you have set up, then I would recommend taking a look at that. But reviewing your website analytics on a regular basis is important. You want to look at where your traffic is coming from and the demographic data that you're able to glean from that, and your referral sources. It's just all powerful information for what's working and what's not working. Similarly, how often do you analyze your social media analytics? On the back end of both Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all of the platforms, they have their own analytics so that you can see what the performance and engagement is there. So do we want to look at followers and likes? Yes. But there's also other numbers that you can look at to see what is the engagement. And not only that, but what are the demographics? So like right now, 75% of our followers are on all of our social media channels are women, but like 95% of our clients are men. So this is a discussion that we're having right now. Clearly our social media is set up to be geared towards women, perhaps because we are mostly women. Sorry guys. But so that's something that we are having a discussion as a business for ourselves right now. And how do you measure the success of your marketing? So you get a score here for each one of these things that you do. When we are working with clients who we meet with on a regular basis, if they do not have a system for this, this is something that we will work with them to set up, because it's, you know, there has to be a level of internal tracking, or else they're not going to be able to compare the data that we have. So internal lead and sales source tracking. So what that looks like is if you're a service-based business, for example, you want to know when that lead calls you or they submit a form, where did the lead come from? Let's say you're running a streaming campaign, so they saw your TV commercial, and then they Googled you online, and then they filled out a form on your website because they saw you start here. They may say that they Googled you, or they may tell you the TV, but what our data would say is that they filled out the form. So it's really important. Like often when we have customers who are running streaming television or just broadcast television, those numbers of leads may not be super high. So what we see overall on our end is trend upwards in online lead forms and phone calls. So this is where getting the first party customer data is super important, because they will tell you, I saw you on TV, or I saw your billboard, or I heard you on the radio. And so that is important, an important way to measure your branding efforts. So if you continually review performance of marketing channels, you can add 10 points for that. And then analyzing your sales goals compared to your marketing results. So what we want to look at as well is what are our sales compared to our goals, and how does this align with our marketing budget? Is there anything out of line here that doesn't make sense? Sometimes businesses have an overemphasis on sales pitch. So pushy sales-centric messaging can turn off potential customers. Effective marketing should focus on providing value and building relationships. So how often do you audit your messaging and copy? You can score it here. Poor customer experience is also something that we need to look at. Negative customer experiences can undermine marketing efforts. A dissatisfied customer is unlikely to recommend or return to a business. Phil said earlier today from Kime, you do not want somebody, you know, marketing is going to bring customers to the door. You don't want them to have a different experience than what they're expecting. So if we are saying that through marketing that the experience is going to be the most amazing thing you've ever gotten, and then they get there and somebody is rude to them, not nice to them, or you know whatever it may be, it's just even 100% different. Or on your website it talks about the process and it lists the steps from start to finish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but the steps weren't followed at all. If you're a company and you promise to give a visualization or something, you just need to make sure that your messaging is actually what you're going to do. And this also goes back to how often you can analyze your reviews. I think actually I put the wrong question in there. Lack of consistency. So consistency across all marketing materials and touch points is essential for building trust and recognition with customers. We all want to get creative, or you want to make sure that your brand is wide enough so that you have the creative scope to not get bored with it. Sometimes brands need to be reevaluated. If you look at Ford's logo through the time, it's changed throughout the years. Big brands do change and evolve, but once that brand is set, you need to stick within it. We understand that you want to try a new font or a new color, or you want to do something different, but it's really important to be consistent. You want the feeling to be the same all the time. So how often do you analyze your marketing materials? So you can score that here based off of how often you assess those. Ignoring feedback. So failing to listen to customer feedback and adjust marketing strategies can lead to missed opportunities for improvement. How often do you analyze your customer feedback? So this would go even beyond your Google reviews. This would be having a process in place for feedback. We get surveys. Every time I go to the bank, I get an email requesting a survey on feedback. Number one, do you have a way to ask directly for customer feedback? And if you do you actually read through and assess that, make changes to how you're doing business? You know, I think Jim had referenced this morning somebody making really simple changes to make it really, really easy for a customer to buy their product. It can be hugely valuable to a business to listen to their customers. Not monitoring competitors is something that you want to avoid. Ignoring what competitors are doing can result in missed opportunities or being blindsided by market changes. We monitor this regularly with our clients. Sometimes what we find is who they think their competitors are not actually who they think their competitors are online. So there's different competitor spaces. So there might be the ones that you run into all the time. There might be new ones that we find online, but it is something that we are monitoring on a regular basis. And not only who are they, but what are they doing that's different? Are they bidding on perhaps on your name or your keywords? There's a lot of different things that you can do to monitor this and make sure that you don't get left behind. So how often do you analyze your competitors? You can score this out here, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. And that is all of the questions. So you can add up the scores here. You guys have this form. I had included a QR code in case you wanted to download it. So if you scored 211 to 235, then you're doing great. If you're somewhere between 165 and 211, then you're doing okay, but you might be able to get some better results. And if you're below 165, then you might need some help. Okay, so our conclusion and point here is to take time to analyze your business goals, marketing strategy, and budget, and let's get planning. So we're getting close to 2024, and it is time to get the plan together and get it started. And we have a few extra minutes, so does anybody have questions or anything? Chuck, this is your chance. Ask as many questions as you want. Nobody has? Sure. Pat? Hopefully if you're working with us, then your score is over 211. We have a couple customers in here, so. Okay, well, I will just go ahead and end this a few minutes early. You guys can have a few extra minutes of free time. We're around if you have questions. Feel free to come on up. It's at 1:30. Yes. And so everything will be over in the auditorium from this point out.